Hey everyone, today we're in the workshop here. We're going to be working on repairing a Battletoads board. Um, this is a board that came from somebody who, well, it's locked in test mode. You can't get it to come out of test mode, and I think one of the switch lines is shorted, so we're going to go through and troubleshoot that and see if we can get it repaired. But first, I want to show you what we're going to test this on. It's this really cool test box that Ricardo built. Unplug it here. I mean, this thing is really sweet. It's a tool case, and he took a laptop computer, pulled out the display. Mounted the display, got a little bit of dust in there, cut that in, put the display in, covered it with plexiglass, and on the front, on the top, well, he's got his switches and buttons, and then the joystick controls, and then you've got your power input and power switch all right there. On the inside, you can pop this open, and then that's the whole thing in there. You've got your monitor adjuster board. He ordered this separately. It's an interface board for the display. You've got your GBS 8200 converter board to do the EGA, CGA to VGA conversions, and your switching power supply. He even took the little speakers out of the laptop and mounted those in there so you get some audio. So, oh, and then last thing here. He's got a little retractable JAMA harness here. So all we have to do is just plug that in, and then we get everything up on the screen. So let's go ahead and do that and take a look at our Battletoads board. Okay, so it's pretty easy here. It's set where you can plug it in right this way. And push that on there. You could also put, like a Sega interface and some other converters on here to do non-JAMA boards. Alright, let's flip this on here. Power up. And it should come right up into test mode because that's what it was doing in its cabinet. Okay, yeah. So with Ricardo's nifty little test box here, I can go down, restart game, and then it kind of just loads that right back up into the test. We can go into game diagnostics. Let me do this again here. Game diagnostics, here we go. We'll do joystick and button check. Yeah, so there's our button test. There is no test for the test button. I don't know why that's not in here. This is where this comes in here. This is just a little logic probe that I got from Fry's Electronics. These are very handy for troubleshooting pinball switch lines, any kind of computer board where you have a switch line that's got a problem. And for anybody that's done board work, usually switch input problems are the easiest thing to fix, and it's it's not too hard to kind of troubleshoot and follow things, because the problem's usually in the first stage when the switch line enters the board. It's usually a buffer chip or something along those lines. So I'm going to plug this onto just a little filter cap here to get my 5 volts and ground, and then it here's our ground here, so that signal's low, that's my little green. Over here on the 5 volts the signal's high, so that's red. Now a normal switch input should always be high, should always have 5 volts. And let me get on to I think this is a coin switch here. Yeah, well, that's my start button. So you can see as I'm hitting my start button here, we're toggling normally the way it should. And then this one, I think is that's the coin. So that's toggling correctly from that high to low. That's that ground return line from your wiring harness from the control panel back to the JAMA connection. So now I'm going to go to the test here, and that one's low. It's low. So and when I hit the test switch here, it's not toggling. So I've already traced this back to 74LS244 chip. We're going to lift the pin on that input to see if the error goes away. There's some other circuitry this goes through here before it gets to the 74LS chip. So we'll be able to determine if the fault's in the chip or not. There is another chip here I'm suspicious of. It runs really super hot. Is my little temperature gun here. See, I just turned this on. Not too hot yet. It's running 116 degrees. Whereas the other chips on the board, they're running 97, and the CPU, CPU's running 98 degrees. So, but after this has been on for a while, this thing gets up to about 130 degrees or so. So, just suspicious of any chips on these old boards that get really hot. All right, so let's pull that pin and see what we find. Alright, so just for the fun of it, first I'm going to plug in this S&K versus Capcom board here. I noticed the screen was jumping around a little bit with the Battletoads board. I want to see if that's an adjustment problem with the converter, or maybe there's another issue with the Battletoads board. I'm going to suspect it might just be that converter board probably needs adjustment to work with the output levels of the Battletoads. Let's see what this one does. I got sound. It's not jumpy, but it's off a little bit. Here, this is really dark. I'm going to kill my light. Yeah. Okay, yeah, see we're low and over. So I'd probably have to hit the auto adjust board on his interface to kind of center things up. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and lift this pin 6 here on U85. It's a 74LS 244. That pin is the input from the test switch line right here. Right there. and it's being held low. It needs to be high. So we're going to lift that pin and try to determine if there's a problem with the IC or something else in the circuit. This chip here, the IMSG 176, that's running really super hot. So that could be a potential bad chip too. So let's lift that pin here and we'll plug the board in and see what it's doing. I'm gonna lay some solder wick on the top here first. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Make sure I get the right pin here. Soak up some of this from the top side. It's always possible that you can cut the trace, but try not to do that if I don't have to. Let's see here, so yeah, it's still connected. I wonder. See if I can pull that pin out of there. Just want to lift it up without breaking it off. Okay, got it out there. So that should break my continuity to the input. Oh yes, very good. Okay, so go back to the pad. I still got continuity down on the pad. All right, so now we'll plug this back in and check the circuit with our logic probe. Without having a schematic for these things, it's really tough. Okay, we'll plug back into Richard's wonderful tester. I'm going to clip onto this little cap here for the power for my logic probe. Okay, power on. Okay. That is still low. Okay. Aha. Okay. So this is good. My input's now high, where it should be. Let's see. Okay. Let me pan up and show you the function of this switch here. Alright, so I'm in the switch input on the JAMA, and my let's see if you can see my logic probe here. So we're signaled high, and when I hit the test switch, it's toggling low. That's the way that switch line should normally work. I think the coin line is, yeah, here's the coin line here. Actually, I can hear the speakers giving me coin up credit. we'll go to the diagnostics. Joystick button test. Okay, yeah, here's my, there you go, my coin line going. And we can see the function of the logic probe as I'm hitting that switch. Turn my light a little bit so you can see that better. There we go. There, won't have so much glare on the screen. Alright, so here's our coin line. Oh, let me get on. There you go. So you can see that function. Back over to the test line. This line next to the test line on the JAMA is the video ground. There's my test line. But of course we're not going into this 74LS244 chip. Let me check the output of that gate is pin 14, 11, 12, 13. That's what it's reading on. It's high and it's doing something weird there. So, okay. Now, even though this is running really super hot, I'm going to replace that 74LS244. Let's see here, we're 126 degrees right now. Let's see, the Z80 CPU, we're running at 97 degrees. And oh, let me do one of these other surface mount chips on the back of the board. 104 degrees. And just elsewhere on the board, 98 degrees. Let me go back to that chip there, 125 degrees. So it's quite a bit warmer than the rest of the circuitry. That's what's got me suspicious with something with that. All right, let's get a 244 chip. We'll swap that out and see how that affects our circuit. All right, so we'll start pulling this 74LS244 chip. So, for some reason, this thing's being pretty resistant on and letting me unsolder things. So I'm going to slowly clip the whole chip out of there, and we'll take the pins out one by one. Sometimes you have to do this because either the it's a multi-layered board. It's really hard to get it hot enough without damaging the board. So I'll just go in, if I'm able to, clip things out. If I can get one side up, lift one side of the chip, it'll be easier to clip the other side. And once you get the chip out, it's easy to pull the pins. I might just work it back and forth till the pins break. There. Got it out. Now I can unsolder from the top and the bottom. There's a lot of solder in here. Getting close, almost done with the first side. Still, most of the solder's out. Still got a few pins to lift out of there. Now these holes are really tight on this. It's also nice if you have a the right sized drill bit. You can run a drill bit through these holes and clean things out. But I don't happen to have one right now. It's something like 1/32 of an inch or 1/64, I forget. The 74 LS244's got a tri-state output with a control line. So imagine there could be something wrong with the control line. Hopefully it was just something internally in the chip. The story was the test switch had come loose by the coin door and shorted up against something, and so it would be expected that the buffer chip would pop, because that's what they're made to do, to protect the rest of the board. Gonna come? Yeah. There's one here being tough. Aha! Excellent. Oh, okay. I think that's all of them. Now, since that was so much fun, I'm wondering if I should see if I have a socket laying around to throw a socket in there. I think I'll see if I have one. Alright, so I don't have a 20-pin socket, but I do have a 14 and a 6, and I'm going to use those together to make my 20. Let's see if this will physically. Okay. Alright, so the 14 lays in there okay. Let's see if I can trim this 6-pin down. I'm sorry, this 8-pin. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So there, I just made a 6-pin socket. I clipped off the ends there. So that's something you can always do. If you don't have the right socket, you can add and subtract. Make sure I get everything fitting correctly before I do any soldering. I've got my pin 1 markings going the correct direction. I think I'm going to put this 6 pin in first. There. Okay, now my 14. There you go. 20 pin socket, homemade. Okay. I'm going to tack the corners of those so I can get them fitting flush. Then I can lay it down flat so I can allow the solder to flow the way I want it to. That feels good. See how that looks. Not bad. Push that on that corner a little bit. Okay. All right. So now make sure I get the right chip. This LS244 that I have here, it's one I've had in stock for years. I probably purchased this 20 years ago, so we'll see. I'm going to assume it's a good chip. It's unused. It all looks good. All right, I'll plug this in and power it up. See if we have any luck here. Pin 1's the correct direction. Huh! We fixed it. Obviously, since that line isn't shorted anymore, the test switch isn't active, so it boots right up to game mode. So hopefully this was helpful to any of you with a similar problem. You can do this type of thing on many JAMA boards or game boards with switch input problems. You always want to look for that logic level to be high on the switch input without any shorts in the wiring harness. That's the other thing. You got to make sure there's no shorts in the wiring harness, which we obviously had eliminated here. So I'm going to hit this switch button here. We'll see if we, aha, right into switch, or right into test. Go back down and restart game. Oh, I have to hit this over here. Okay, restart game. It's still doing that jumpy, but I know it wasn't doing that in the cabinet, so I'm going to assume that's just a interface issue here. I believe this is credit. No, this is credit. Start. I'll try to play a game on Ricardo's little box here. Battletoads is a really cool game. There we go. I killed him. Forwards. Kill this guy here. Oh, he jumps. Okay, that's jump and oh wow. Okay. I might be here for a while tonight playing Battletoads, so till next time, thanks for joining us here at This Old Arcade. Die, you suckers. Oh, I died.